Hi, I'm Adam and welcome back to First Man Photography, and in today's video we are heading out and about on a shoot where I'm going to share what I think are a couple of very important messages. Before we get going today though, this video is sponsored by Lexar. If you need fast, reliable and high quality memory cards, look no further than Lexar. For the big message of this video, you'll have to wait until the glorious sunset at the end. But if you are anything like me and you've ever struggled with your photography, one way to cope with a lack of confidence or motivation is to gain a new perspective. This works in life too. There's a lot of doom, gloom, and very real problems around at the moment, and it's all too easy to get sucked in and let it consume you. So I'm going to head to a new location, and in the face of everything, including my recent creative struggles, provide a reminder about both life and photography by telling myself, hang on, this is awesome. And very quickly, before we get outside, if you like the image at the end, please consider supporting the channel by hitting the link down below and picking up one of the 5 Continuum prints available in the series. Right, so you join me on what is a beautiful summer evening, and I am surrounded by this really quite stunning heather. But I've not been to this location before. Got about a couple of hours, I think, before sunset, so I'm going to have a very quick scout around and try and find 1 or 2 compositions that will do this place justice. Behind me, as you can see, there is very little cloud, but as I spin around so you are into the sun, there is loads more cloud. Ideally, my sort of composition is going to very much be in that direction. So one tactic I use when I'm trying to scout out a location that I've not been to before is get some height so you can look down on the landscape. So I've come up to the top of this moor here. Now I have some really good views all the way around. I'm not going to get any closer to the trig point because it is crawling with flying ants. I like the couple of hot air balloons that are behind me there. That's quite nice. I think over there, probably not going to be the place to go. This tree here, the one just there, that's got some potential because it's going to get the light. It's going to have those high altitude clouds behind it. It's got interesting trunks as well. I then have those trees off in the distance there. I can see some very white trunks of some silver birches. So I think I'm going to go down there and have an explore. So it's worked out quite well coming up here really to have a good look around. The whole place is teeming with wildlife as well, mostly of the bug variety like the flying ants. So it's going to be a sticky night, I think. I'm going to get bitten a few times, but we have to suffer for our art, don't we? We have to suffer. Annoyingly, I'm still feeling pretty low on confidence with my photography at the moment. Last week went pretty well. I was really happy with that final image, and thank you so much to those of you that picked up a copy of that. But I'm really drawn to this scene behind me. You've got the kind of sun nestling behind the tree to the top left and casting some really nice long shadows over the heather. It's a really pretty scene, and I love the way that warm evening light is now picking up these trees on the right hand side. But I've played around with it a little bit. I've shot some vertical stuff, I've shot some horizontal stuff, but my confidence, to be honest, is so low that I'm not even going to talk it through because I have that little confidence that it's going to work. The silly thing is, and it often happens to me when I'm making these videos, is that I have a lot of self-doubt creeping into the compositions I make. But then when I get home, I kind of find that I've sort of fallen back onto my general photography experience and skill perhaps, and I end up really liking the photo. I think it's partly because my eyes are not so great and I can't see it so well on the small screen. I always instantly know when it goes on the big screen though. I just know that I really like looking at that. So I've captured it in a number of different ways, different focal lengths, different orientations of the camera as well. So I'll show you what I've got and I'll put some text up to let you know if I like it as well. need to crack on so I get in the right place for sunset. But what I was going to say is I'm really loving being out. This is a glorious place that I've not been to before. I've seen one guy the whole time I've been here, so I think by now I've pretty much got the whole place to myself. I posted the other day online asking how many photos you think is a good return, and a lot of people said that the pressure to create, the pressure to be always posting things on social media really influences our desire or our need. I feel like I'm maybe suffering a little bit of that. I also suffer this really competitive spirit. When I get a good photograph, when the moment happens and it's all gone really well, to me that feels like a win, and I like winning. I've always been competitive. I used to play lots and lots of sport, and I wasn't always the best loser, particularly when it was all down to me. I think it's easier to lose at team sports because there's a distribution of blame, and I feel that now. It feels like a loss when I don't get an image on an outing, and I think really that's a pretty big weakness. I think I need to change that. Let me know your thoughts down below. Do you feel the pressure to create? Do you feel the need to be constantly uploading photos to social media? Do you think it makes a difference? I don't know. Just spilling thoughts out now. Right, I'm going to crack on. Right, I am now finally set up for a shot, and I think I'm going to have to talk through it pretty quickly because the flies buzzing around me are really, really off-putting. And I also want to be back in position by that tree I mentioned earlier for sunset. But I have the camera set up behind me, as you can see, at a very strange angle because I want to give the camera some height so I can shoot down at the beautiful bunches of heather here. And if I spin around this way, I've got that light coming from behind that tree, cutting across this way onto the scene behind me. And this shot, I think, really is a bit of a departure for me, really, because I struggle photographing trees quite a lot. Now, I was initially attracted just to the sort of full frontal shot of those trees there, but with it being fully front lit, the light looked a bit flat and wasn't very interesting. But just a simple perspective shift to these trees behind me, particularly this one that's kind of going up at a diagonal, and then that tree kind of arches up around, and you can really see the relationship with that tree there, and then it kind of goes in to the darkness of the wood there, and I really like that relationship. I've then got that beautiful warm light on the heather in the foreground. I think it's going to work really, really well. Like I say, feels like a bit of a departure because I very, very rarely shoot so wide, but settings wise I'm at f11, I'm at 1/13 of a second, and then ISO 100. Let's just come over to the camera and fire that off. The light's looking fantastic now. I'm going to get packed up. I'll show you that in a sec, but I'm going to get packed up and over to my last location of the day because the sun is really warming up now and it's looking really, really nice. I'm just waiting for sunset now, and I'm really struggling to do anything with this tree. It's just, I'm looking down on it too much, and if I get low I don't see any heather. So that's quite frustrating. But as you know, this video is sponsored by Lexar. Now, Lexar memory cards, in my opinion, are the best memory cards out there. I have used them for years and they have never let me down. And that's because they are fast, they are reliable, and they are high quality. I've put them through absolutely everything, through thick and thin, to the top of the snowiest, wettest mountain, and drowned them all the way underneath a Welsh lake, and they've continued working. They've saved all my footage, all my photos, and I've never lost a thing. I particularly like this one. This is the Lexar Professional 1800X. This is a really nice card because it comes in various sizes or capacities to fit all your stuff on there, and it's fast as well for all your 4K footage and high burst rate stills. It's the kind of card you can just stick into your camera and then forget about it because it will just do it all. So yeah, go to the link down below and check out Lexar and the Lexar Professional 1800X and give them some love for sponsoring this channel. That light is really starting to look good now, so I'm going to save this tree for another day I think it'll be good, maybe with some snow or something, I don't really know, but I need to get into position for the sunset. We've got to the end of the day and that sun is setting behind me there and just looking incredible. The colour is starting to ignite as well. If it wasn't for all the flies still buzzing around me, it would be the perfect evening. I've got those beautiful high altitude wispy clouds. I've got that warm summer evening light, the beautiful colour of the heather, and then that tree, which is my subject. And I've got the camera set up and I'm going for a vertical image, and I'm using the rocks down in the foreground just to kind of draw you in to the image. Yeah, and there's also just a little pathway of green going through there. There's a bit of a leading line. The bottom of the image is framed by this just simply beautiful heather, and with that warm light coming across onto it, it's just looking fantastic. I'm going to fire an image away. I'm focusing on the rocks in the foreground, just that warm last light of the evening hitting those trees. Those clouds have got some beautiful yellows in there as well now, with flies absolutely everywhere. So yeah, I'm at f11, 1/5 of a second, and then I'm bracketing either side of that, and I'm at ISO 100. Again, there's no wind whatsoever. Shoot with a low shutter speed to my heart's content, and I'm going to fire that off one more time because it just feels like a special moment. Oh, what a way to finish the day. But I'm here because I like making artwork out of the beautiful scenery that Mother Nature offers us, and it's kind of serves as a reminder at times like this that we need to protect it as well. And I'm not going to preach to you about how you do that, but I think we should live in balance as best we can and be custodians of the land and the places that we go to, because at moments like this, even surrounded by a load of flies, it can feel very emotional, and surrounded by this heather and this colour and the last of that light, it's just a very special moment.